Hey, this is Leonard. Now, in today's video, what I'm going to talk about is priorities, because within life, or even within personal development, there's lots of different things that we can prioritize. And, it's very important that we look at what we're prioritizing, because we can, our ego and our self, we can always convince ourselves of different things that are important to us or we think are priorities. But what I'm going to talk about is prioritizing your emotional state, because really this is the foundation of how you feel, your well-being and your level of consciousness, your vibrational frequency. Your emotional state is the foundation of that, and really by prioritizing that, then everything else falls into place, and we start to see in other areas of our life it will improve. For example, like if you're getting stressed, or something has affected your emotional state, then it might be advisable to firstly try to increase your awareness of that, if that's something that's happening quite a lot. And secondly, to go and change your state, go and reorientate your compass needle back to a default state of well-being. And it's only by increasing awareness that we really get to understand this, because we can get wrapped up in stress. It's very easy to get wrapped up and have a completely stressful day, whereas when you're increasing your awareness of this stuff more and more, you sometimes you might be more reactive, and you might be a bit stressed at something, but it becomes less and less. You're like, oh, okay, I got stressed that time. And then you look at it and you're like, well, actually, I am not my emotional state. I'm not my thoughts. You detach from that. It's like, that's not me. And you detach from that and be like, oh, okay, I'm just Sam experiencing this feeling of stress, and you locate it in the body, and you think, okay, that's where it is. And you detach from it, and then it's much easier. You can do some breathing exercises or something to try and get over that stress state, and change your emotional state to a much better one, the one that actually serves you. And the things that can affect you are things that you want to be looking at. If things are making you stressed, or things are affecting your emotional state, your well-being, then they're things you want to look at. So these are some things that you can look at, and by doing this, then you're continuing to improve your mental state, your mental well-being. And look at the people that are in your life. Are there people that are beneficial to you? Are there people that are actually serving you? Are they people who are actually prioritizing their own well-being and how they are? Or are they constantly people who are acting like victims and justifying bad behavior, justifying certain things to themselves? These people aren't particularly, you've got to start to look at, are these people beneficial for you to have in your life? And these are the difficult questions that we come across within personal development. And, so people is one of the things you've got to look at. People in your life, getting sucked into arguments, low level of emotional intelligence, that sort of thing. The media, surround yourself with negativity is never going to be beneficial for your mental well-being. And things that trigger you, things that set you off, maybe you want to distance yourself from them. If there's a particular news article or a current event, which this year there's so many things that can bring your emotional state down, maybe you want to distance yourself from those. You've got to think about your psychology. Why is it that you're getting addicted to looking at these things that are bringing down your emotional well-being? A lot of the time, something like the media. I mean, I've talked about this many times. Yeah, you're not getting information that's going to be serving you, or it's actually going to be beneficial for you. A lot of the time, you're just doing it because you have this need for significance, for finding out something. It gets you in a state of fear, and then you need to go back to authority to get your level of certainty from it. So by being aware of this, understand you don't need to get your certainty from the media, from other people. You get it from yourself. You get it from within, from understanding yourself. So yeah, people and the media, things that affect your emotional state. There may be other things. This is about a journey for yourself, about increasing your awareness of your environment, things around you, and also that's your outer world and also your inner world. You know, if you're in charge of your inner world, then you get to understand that you're in charge of that. You can control that, and things in the outer world, they don't control you or affect you so much. So things that affect you, like I've talked about. Secondly, it's the justification we do, this emotional process of like going back to the news, or caring what other people think too much, like, well, I need to get this done, it's so important, buying into other people's agenda. That comes from caring what other people think. No, it's not that important if it's affecting your emotional well-being, and if they don't see that, then that's up to them. Doesn't mean you need to choose that or buy into that. So, and the next thing is how you actually change your state. Okay, there's this increasing of awareness at first. There's this understanding of notifying or understanding when you're actually getting stressed, and reducing that less and less, reducing the environmental factors that can affect that. But it happens, it's a process, and we are going to get stressed now and again. So there's certain things we can do to try and change our emotional state, and that is, I find the best things are firstly detaching from the emotion. You are not your thoughts, you're not your emotions. You can, you have the ability to control that. Firstly, that awareness of separating yourself from that, and secondly, we can do physical breathing exercises. I'm a big fan of Wim Hof. If you don't know him, go and check him out. He's got loads of guided breathing meditations that literally change your physiology and will change your state. And if and there's other things, other different breathing exercises, like box breathing. It's very beneficial, where you're breathing in for 5 seconds, and then you're holding it, then you're breathing out for 5 seconds and holding it, and breathing in for 5 seconds and holding it, and you just do that. It's called box breathing. That's very good for changing your state, and it brings you back to the present moment, brings you back to your state right now, and you start to understand that how you're feeling in the present moment is everything. So these are the things that I do to try to change my emotional state. If I've been sleeping awake, as it were, and I got triggered by something, or I've been reactive, or something has affected my emotional state, but I will prioritise it. I won't let it ruin my day. I won't let it control me. I don't buy into other people's agendas about what's important. I understand myself. I'm a self-sovereign individual. I understand my values. I understand what I stand for. And when something like that happens, I just bring myself back to centre and back to what serves me. And by doing that, then I it brings me back to centre. Brings me back to being centred. And this is where you want to be on a daily basis, on trying to maintain your emotional state in that way, and not get, by not being in the present moment, you can easily get sucked into things and other people's agendas, like I said. So that's it really for this video. It's to do with prioritising your emotional state. First thing is to look at the things that influence that: people, the media, the types of people, the sort of product, media or content that you're consuming. Also looking at your psychology, why you might be getting sucked into these types of low level conversations or arguments, or this type of negative media, or this type of content, or other people's agenda. this constant self-reflection and self-awareness of why we're doing certain things, asking ourselves these questions. And the third thing is techniques to change your emotional state, to optimize your emotional well-being more and more and more, so we can constantly feel better more of the time. And that's really the priority. And most people just don't think it's possible. They're just victims to outer circumstances and victims to their own inner well-being. And that's not the case. You know, you have control over that. It's just about increasing awareness and taking charge of your emotional state. So as you go out there, then just increase your awareness of your emotional state. How are you feeling? Are you continuously getting annoyed and triggered by things? And just try to be present, try to be more aware of this and more compassionate of it. And actually with that, talking about compassion, one of the things is actually, you know, if you're triggered by people, then it's important to understand and be compassionate and understanding of them and of why they might be doing things. You know, when you look at the levels of consciousness, you can look at where different people calibrate at, and this isn't an ego thing. It doesn't mean because you calibrate higher that you're better than people. You know, by very definition of thinking that, then you don't calibrate higher. You know, we're all on different parts of our journey, but by increasing our compassion, our understanding of other people, it helps bring up a level of tolerance of other people, and that in itself will stop us getting triggered so much by other people's behaviour if it's not you know, favourable to us. And you know, sometimes we have to look into this whole thing about we want everyone to behave the same as us. It's another thing, another awareness to look into. So with that, I think that really covers it. Prioritising your emotional state is extremely important, and yeah, I hope that helped you, and I look forward to speaking to you in the next video.